Hey guys, Marvin D'Souza here again. So in this video, I want to cover information protection. This is the next part of that Zero Trust series. And when you think about it, information is the most important thing to any organization, right? I mean, we all want to make sure that our privileged information, whether it be health information of our employees or constituents or research and development data that we spend a lot of time and money developing, is protected. I mean, we see a lot of times that because of the advent of cloud, like SaaS applications, etc., a lot of organizations complain that their data is possibly anywhere in the world at this moment because by a simple email or forward of a text message, etc., you can forward documents anywhere. And that's what we're seeing really. Like the traditional premises or perimeter that we used to feel comfortable with when you had a firewall and everyone worked from within one organization or behind one firewall is gone. Really, it's all history. So what we're seeing here is Microsoft taking again another cool step in protecting your data no matter where it is. So first step is obviously discovering what you have, classifying it based on your organization's classifications. This could be top secret, confidential, high confidential. You decide what is important for your organization, and then you put the protections around it. And then you monitor obviously who's accessing those files, where those files are, who they're sharing it with, who's opening it, who's editing it, things like that. And all this is automated. So that's the cool part, right? I mean, when you think about, organizations have thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of documents, and manually do any of those labeling and classification for every single document and do it accurately is almost going to be impossible. And a lot of times human beings make mistakes. If there's a social security number hidden in a document or on the fifth page of a document, we sometimes may look at the first two pages and say, oh, this document's clean, classify it as public. Someone shares it with the wrong person by mistake, and now you have a problem. We have built-in templates. We have consistent, monitoring and checking of the sensitive types of data. And it doesn't matter whether your data is on premises, in a Microsoft cloud or in a Google cloud or any other cloud. The protections, the labels, the information rights, if you will, and protection follow it wherever the document is. So that's the other cool thing is you don't have to be only using Microsoft tools or Microsoft cloud resources. And we have built-in templates to make this easy for you. It's not going to be like you're reinventing the wheel. So we're trying to make that really easy for you. And customization. This is key for many security organizations. When you are creating your own policies, you want to make sure and ensure that it's customized just for your organization and it's special or it's unique to your organization. And that's what makes this tool really cool. And I think that's it. And then obviously monitoring is a key part for any organization. You want to see who's touching what, who's doing what, and then understand how you can actually protect that data. So let's get into the demo and take a look at it from there. All right, so for the demo, let's go to compliance.microsoft.com within your tenant. Under catalog, you can have multiple solutions within the catalog. Oh, you can add any of them so you can see them here. So to add, let's say data loss prevention, just go to view and then hit show in navigation. Then it'll add it to your, the quick access menu here. So for today, we're going to look at information protection. And I have a few labels created. So let's just look at a label and edit it and see the options we have. So when you edit the, obviously, name, and then description for the user, description for admins, and so that your other admins can actually look and say, okay, what this other guy was trying to do. You can apply to files and emails. I really love this about applying it to files. What's nice about this is it really takes it to that next level where if a document by mistake finds itself in the wrong hands, no matter whether it was shared, copied on a USB thumb drive, someone stole a laptop and got access to a hard drive, it doesn't matter because that file is encrypted and rights protected. So physical access to the file doesn't matter. And this really makes a huge difference, like we talked about earlier, when we're working with SaaS applications all over the place. This makes a huge difference. You encrypt the files and mark the content of the files. We'll go into details on this in a second. So here you look at the different options here. So you can assign the permissions now, or you can let the users apply the permissions later. access to content. So this is good for, when you have contract workers or seasonal staff that come in, help out, whether it's taxes or something else. And after a certain period, access to those documents automatically expire. So this is really great for contract workers or seasonal staff that help out with big projects. And once you don't need them to have access anymore, they can still have their user account, but that file that they have maybe on their personal laptop or their organization's laptop is useless to them because it's encrypted and rights management, and they don't have access anymore. Here you can give it, you can say also like offline access, right? So if it's a really sensitive document and you're working with users who may use BYOD devices, contractors using their own laptops, you can say things like, I don't even want you to download the document. The document has to be viewed only online within the confines of the online resource. Finally, you can assign permissions. You have various kinds of permissions, your co-author, viewer. And so when you create this file, this label, you can actually add users. You can add all the users, only authenticated users, and you can get very specific for email addresses and domains. This is if you want to collaborate, again, with outside resources that are outside your domain. For adding users, let's say we choose Adele and we add her here, you can actually choose what kind of permissions she has, and you can make it either customized or you can choose one of the things. If you choose a co-owner, she has all the permissions for this document. Next, we'll look at the content marking, which we looked at earlier here. So when you see a content marking is primarily like what you've probably seen in shows or in some documents where you have the top secret or secret, label or watermark. And this is what that is really, is a watermark. And then you can choose whatever the text is, the size and the color, and then whether you want it diagonal or horizontal. So this is a really cool feature as well. So if someone's trying to print or look at a document, it's like in their face that this is a highly confidential document. Please don't share this. Please don't put this up on social media. Please don't copy this to your local laptop. Take care, you're working with something really important. Obviously, I didn't cover that, but you can also add a header and a footer, so that just makes it even more stand out. This is what the actual scanning will look for in this label. Is look for social security document numbers, look for credit card numbers. Here's you have the accuracy. Again, I'm the kind of person that likes to err on the side of caution. I chose a lower accuracy number for social security numbers. You can go lower if you like. The good point of that is, I feel, I'd rather make a mistake and not share a document that does not have a social security number, as opposed to make a mistake and share a document that does have the social security number. It's all about automation, machine learning, and just erring on the side of caution here. What happens when these conditions are met? Automatically apply the label, or recommend that users apply the label. I'm a big fan of automation. I love automation, and I feel like if you automatically apply the label, you just remove all that tedium that users have to remember to apply the label. People will make less mistakes, and once the label is applied, permissions are applied to it. And you can choose a specific message to display to the users as that is done. Here you can define the protection for groups and sites. We'll get to that in another video. I'll show you guys that. Here is where you can actually choose to label columns within databases, and if you have that, and that's also really handy because sometimes we look at large SQL databases and they may have sensitive data. So here you can actually have that option for auto labeling just those columns and providing protection like copy paste, things like that, from that column to maybe other columns or outside of SQL. Finally, you save the label once you're done with all the changes. Here you have the label policies. What I wanted to look at today is auto labeling. So auto labeling is a really cool feature, again, where you take the human intervention out of the mix and you rely completely on machine learning and artificial intelligence to do the work for you. So like I mentioned earlier, we have a bunch of different templates. One of the templates that I like is the financial one. So you can scroll down. We have a number of them. So you choose US financial data, and it has this information. And these templates are editable, right? So you can change all the information in here. You can modify it. And here you can choose like SharePoint sites. You can choose Exchange. You can choose just one user, multiple users, all users. You can choose different kinds of OneDrive accounts. For this example, let's look at SharePoint sites. Here you can choose your site if you don't know the actual label, and you can choose any site, or you can choose one of these sites, hit add, and that's pretty much it. You can choose any of those sites, all the sites, and then you can just keep proceeding. Or you can choose all the sites and then exclude a couple. And what this basically does is basically look for this site and look for documents within this site and starts applying those labels to it. And then, here basically the conditions that we've for our content, what is to happen, and common rules, or you can actually look for advanced rules. Hit next. And so here you'll actually say like, okay, so these rules are made up and we can start editing these rules. So this is the information we have. This was based on that template we chose, but I can add more information, or I can add more sensitive types here. So if I want to add something else here, like maybe, driver's license or some other information, IP address, I can choose to add that information here and make it part of this built-in template, so I don't have to really only rely on that template information that was given to me. You can also choose, and then there's all these, or any of these, and if it's shared with people within my organization, outside my organization, definitely add these. And then you can start adding, more conditions as well if you use a customized policy. Then once you actually do that, you can hit the next button. You can choose a label to apply. So what this is basically saying, like when all these criteria have been met, which label should be applied to your organization, to this document. And it's giving you a warning here saying, like, since you turn encryption on, encryption slows things down, which we're aware of. And then run the policy in simulation mode or leave the policy turned off. Now, when you run the policy in simulation mode, what's going to happen is it's going to run in simulation mode for a while and apply labels and things like that. And then once the simulation is done, it'll just be running. So the simulation runs for, I think, 90 days, and then after that, it just starts running the label. Then you create the policy, and it's pretty much done at this point, right? So all of that labeling, all that work you did is done. So you create a label and then you auto labeling. So both those parts work in tandem together to give you that information protection that you want. So let's take a look at this in more detail. Let's take a look at a live example, okay? So for this part of the demo, I've opened up Microsoft Edge browser in private browsing mode. I went to portal.office.com and I clicked on SharePoint. You see here that this session is being monitored by Microsoft Cloud Applicant Security. I'll show you in some other videos how we can actually create these policies to view session activity. So you can either block or allow sessions within Teams, chats, things like that, to prevent people from maybe typing in social security numbers and sharing it across or to people outside the organization. So I'm going to hit yes, keep monitoring my session. I'm going to go to the operations site within my SharePoint domain, and I'm going to go to documents. Here I'm going to upload what seems like a pretty simple document, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and hit upload files, and I'm going to upload what looks like a cookie recipe. So there, I got a cookie recipe I've uploaded, and I'm working as Alex Wilbur. Let's open up this cookie recipe and look at it. All right, so if we open up this cookie recipe, it looks like a pretty simple recipe here. It's not too, doesn't look like anything highly confidential or important here, so I can keep reading this document. Now, if I wanted to, I could share this document because, as you can see, no labels or anything has been applied to it. But as we're talking, the information protection scanner has scanned this document and has automatically applied the highly confidential project file. And you can see here, this is a cookie recipe. If I keep scrolling, I can see your social security number has been hidden here. So what the goal here is that, you know, this would be a mistake that maybe an end user would suspect and think, you know what, this is a simple cookie recipe document. I'm just going to, or history of cookies. I'm just going to share this with my friends on social media, not knowing that there was a social security number hidden in this document. So that's where the scanner really comes into play. That's where it really uh, makes the life of your users and your security team a lot better, because it's doing it all automatically for you. In a new preview coming out, that all the reasons why this document was automatically labeled will be highlighted as well. So that's coming as well. What are the permissions that Alex has here? Can he save this document? No, he has no permissions to do any of those things. Can he print the document? No, he cannot print the document. So as you can see, even though Alex has permissions to look at this document, he has very limited capabilities or within just viewing this document. So he's just got plain viewer permission, which we saw while we were creating that label. Let's look at it from, let's actually move this document to a different location here. Let's share it with Christy Klein. So I'm going to share this with Christy Klein. Okay. And now this information, you know, this was sent to Christy. So let's log into a machine as Christy. Let's go to Outlook. Yes, continue. Now Alex will share a file with you, cookie recipe. Let's open it up. Should get the link. And you see here, since Christy was not even part of that label process, she doesn't have a permission to open this document. She doesn't have the rights management. She doesn't have that ability. And so, you know, this is where you can go really far with this and say, you know, who has rights even within my organization? And even if someone is shared the link, someone actually, even if Christy has physical access to this file, she won't be able to open it. There are a lot more examples we can cover with this, but this is just one short one. I don't want the video to be too long, but I'll make some other videos that show more controls and more, you know, protections you can place around your information, so you can, you know, not be concerned about your documents or your intellectual property falling into the wrong hands. Hope you guys found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.